One of my neighbors in my fairly Republican neighborhood has a Freedom 250 banner hanging outside of their home. And every time I walk by their house with Donk, I feel kind of disgusted, disturbed. I don't know, like, what freedoms are you talking about? Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. So yeah, I'm in no mood to celebrate America's birthday under Trump. I'm just not. Am I a Scrooge or am I a realist? I mean, this Jabba the Hutt is rubbing in our faces his luxury palace in the sky that we paid for. The Qatari jet retrofitted to the tune of $400 million of our money.
But with the extraordinary devotion of many of you here today, this plane was transformed into a flying White House at a level of luxury that nobody's ever seen before. Probably even almost outside of an airplane. It's nobody's ever seen anything like this.
Yeah, he's just bragging about it. Well, people like me can't afford groceries, car repairs, rent. And what I cannot get my mind around is that he gets to keep it. As Senator Chris Murphy notes, no president has ever stolen Air Force One when they leave office. So let me get this straight. We pay $400 million for the jet to be luxuriized, a word I just made up, and then he leaves office with it? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know how, but we have got to stop that shit. That's insane. Senator Murphy also noting the continuing price of Trump's incompetence when he posted this. Trump signed a, quote, deal, that was contingent on Israel ending its disastrous war in Lebanon, and apparently didn't bother to check that with Israel. We spent how many billions of dollars in a war that Trump and Netanyahu started with Iran to ultimately lose? Everything is worse now than it was before we started the war. This is the continuing narrative of Trump's presidency.
Tonight in the New York Times, Iran apparently thinks that the outcome of this war they just won against the United States is going to include Iran having the ability for the first time to charge everyone fees to transit the Strait of Hormuz. You're not allowed to call it a toll, so they're calling it a fee, but it sort of amounts to the same thing. And this is something they didn't do before, but now they're going to start. Why are they going to start doing this? They're going to start doing this because they just won a war with the United States of America. Donald Trump started a war with Iran, and he then lost the war. The war was supposedly for regime change, right? The regime in Iran is now the same theocratic regime they had before, just with a younger, more radical mullah in charge now. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is in a position with regard to the government that is as strong, if not stronger, than it was before. Iran's nuclear program, that was another supposed reason for the war, that is still very much in place. Iran's stockpiles of enriched uranium, still very much in place. Trump said he wanted regime change. He said he wanted to end their nuclear program. He wanted to seize their stockpiles of enriched uranium. He did none of these things. He said he wanted to decimate Iran's military capability. Indeed, he says he did so, but, somehow Iran maintained enough military capability to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed all this time. But bottom line, it does just seem to be Donald Trump surrendering on behalf of the American government, agreeing to cease all of our military operations there, potentially agreeing to pay Iran in the form of lifting previous sanctions or unfreezing previously frozen Iranian assets. And in exchange for us paying them, we get a return to most of the conditions that existed before the war, except things are now worse for us and better for them. That's basically the definition of losing a war. Thanks to Donald Trump starting and then losing this war, Iran is going to be richer and more influential. Its ruling regime is definitely more radical and more entrenched than ever. It can be infinitely more confident in its nuclear ambitions now that they know that the most powerful country and the most powerful military in the world couldn't do anything to end those ambitions, even at the cost of a war. I mean, really, the only difference for Iran now materially is that they may be able to start charging fees for ships that want to transit the Strait of Hormuz, which is something they were never able to do before. But hey, to the victor go the spoils, right? Meanwhile, American families are poorer thanks to the spike in energy prices and related inflation that Trump's war caused, that may not even level out anytime soon thanks to the damage.
Unconditional surrender by the United States. So much winning. Meanwhile, Netanyahu, who led Trump with a nose ring into this loser war, isn't abiding by any of the conditions that were set out in this peace agreement. And he and the IOF continue to bomb the shit out of Lebanon, killing innocent civilians there. So our so-called ally isn't even allying with us, and Congress wants to intertwine our military with theirs. Meanwhile, screwworm, that flesh-eating worm that we eradicated in the 1960s, is back because Republicans and Elon Musk cut a program that cost $15 million a year to monitor the nasty things. And now we have a massive outbreak that will cost American taxpayers $1 billion to combat. So much for government efficiency from the world's first trillionaire. And by the way, shouldn't he pay for this? He broke it. He has the money after all. I mean, what's $1 billion to a trillionaire? But Elon is too busy being chronically online and screaming at Representative Ro Khanna for getting appropriately called out for cutting USAID funds that, according to the Lancet Journal, will cause up to 14 million deaths worldwide by 2030. The world's richest man pulling the lifeline on millions of the poorest people on earth. How about that? I mean, the depravity and evil of these people is boundless. ProPublica is reporting that despite Republicans claiming otherwise, cuts in the big ugly ass bill to the food program would not compromise the nation's most vulnerable. Turns out that 770,000 children are no longer receiving SNAP food benefits. Oh my gosh, Republicans lied? I'm shocked. As the politics chicks note, things for which he has cut funding, and I'm going to throw in that involves Elon Musk, Stephen Miller, the lot of them, Russell Vought, cancer research, national parks, the Department of Education, public broadcasting, research grants, Centers for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health, Housing and Urban Development, USAID, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP, as I just mentioned, climate change, EPA, NOAA. I got to do a whole story on that. Things that cost more, everything. Things that are better, nothing. Oh, and they're not done. Here's smarmy closet demon queen Mike Johnson scheming about how he's going to take everything that's left.
And doing all that. And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address the largest spending items. The reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year, and it's critical because we're at 40 trillion plus.
And right after celebrating his obnoxious, grifty birthday party that destroyed the White House front lawn, Trump flew over to the G7 where he wandered around, creepishly grabbed onto Brigitte Macron repeatedly. It was so ew.
Mr. Trump, please. President Trump. Yes. Perfect.
Was literally off balance around the G7 leaders. And in this clip, which actually cracked me up, he appeared to have absolutely no idea that President Macron was orchestrating a group photo.
Thank you. Just tournez-vous 2 secondes. Regardez les dents. May, could you have a look to these guys?
Georgia, you have the official.
Trump appears to be completely out of it, just like the US is. We are not in the cool kids group anymore. Not really. The European nations are moving on without us. And honestly, who could blame them? We have spurned our allies, treated them like shit, reintroduced the measles, hantavirus, whooping cough, and enabled a deadly Ebola outbreak because of our greed and budget cuts to USAID. We used to be the global leader for health innovation, but not anymore under these sickos. And yes, pun intended there. And to wrap it up, in the most perfect metaphor ever, just in time for America's 250th, under Republicans and Trump, the Lincoln Memorial Reflection Pool is quite literally a reflection of the swamp that Trump and his cronies have turned our country into. And the ever dishonest Trump is insisting that somebody else vandalized the pool. The $16 million vandalizing job was done by you, dude. You did it, Mr. Trump. And yet, Trump's arresting innocent people for touching the contaminated water.
Is a new low. They've hit bottom again here, and the courts are pushing back, Chris. As you know, we won the Kennedy Center case. We helped defeat the slush fund, $1.8 billion, and we're going to fight this case as well. We can't have the Department of Justice bullying American citizens for touching water. That cannot be a crime. So this is a very important matter because it's an effort to shift the blame and scapegoat for the consequences of the administration's corruption. We're going to be contesting it vigorously.
And as for the criminal contractor that he hired to renovate the reflection pool, according to Trump, he never knew him, doesn't know him.
For weeks, Donald Trump has been bragging about his big renovations to the iconic Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. And the Trump administration hired a company that had never worked for the federal government before, giving them a special no-bid contract that has grown from an initial cost of around $1.8 million to more than $13 million. And now it appears that project isn't going so well. The New York Times reports that the repairs appear uneven and behind schedule. And so naturally, Trump is distancing himself from the company doing those repairs, posting on Truth Social, quote, "I didn't give out the contract," quote, I don't know why it's in quotes, "Interior did, to a contractor I did not know and have never used before." Interesting. I mean, why would anyone assume Trump had chosen the contractor for this pool project?
I said, you know, Doug, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to call all three of these people that have worked for me in the past doing swimming pools. So I called people that do swimming pools, and I said, go take a look at it. I said, I have an idea. I'm going to send my contractor over and take a look. So I have some very good contractors, some good, one or two in particular. And I said the three best. He looked at it, he called me up, he said, so we can do something on it? He came back, he said, what an exciting job, sir.
What an exciting job, yeah. Creating a swamp. We literally have to drain the swamp now. I mean, you cannot make this shit up. America is a freaking joke. Take a good look at America on her 250th, folks. Trump turned us into American flag blue per this cartoon from Michael DeAdder. Look what he did. Just beautiful. America's beautiful. So no, I have no interest in celebrating Freedom 250 with my fascist neighbors, but I won't stop fighting for what I know is possible, to pursue a more perfect union. People are ready for a change. People want progress. They are tired of the status quo because that's what landed us here. There is no going back to normal. Click the link in the description below to support progressive candidates. These are people who want to break ties with Israel. They want to abolish ICE and so much more. And follow me on my socials to learn more about state legislature races and why they are so incredibly important in fighting fascism. So here's to better birthdays, Miss America. As always, be fierce, my friends. Peace out.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.